Good evening, parents. I had a wonderful day today. I visited all seven of our schools. Um, we're on the verge of opening, and I hope you're focused on Monday, August 22nd. But when I thought about it, I thought maybe it's been a long summer, and so you need to refocus on 162. So I wanted to just share with you the principles because I walked the building with the principals, I saw all the teachers, but primarily I looked at their eyes, their faces. Everyone is looking forward to the children coming back to school. But if your children are going to the Arcadia, then it will be Dr. Stephanie Healy that will be welcoming her. And, that's the home of the scholars and leaders. And so that's a wonderful thing. Something you possibly don't know. As of last year, the Arcadia was our largest school. And so we closed at 551. We'll see this year. I don't know. But then if you go a little bit down the road, you run into the Mattison. And at the Mattison, there's a person that you've known over the years, but in a different way. Mrs. Keisha Houston is the new principal of the Mattison. You may know her for 20 years as a teacher in 162. You may know her because she was promoted a couple of years ago to AP at the Illinois. But now she proudly leads the Madison, and we're very, very happy about that. But right down the street, maybe 2 to 3 blocks from the Madison, is the Huth. So I don't know how long you've been in the district, if you have history with us. But you may remember Ron Jones, who was the principal 7 years ago. And he really used to tickle my imagination because he was always saying, Dr. Davis, it's about the Huth, nothing but the Huth. But Mr. Jones retired. But Mrs. Brenda Calvin, former principal of the SOC and AP here in the district, has been for the last few years the principal. And she's so excited because of the fact that, I don't know, I think that she's involving herself in projects that she's going to bring to the children, such as history makers. She's doing a lot of staff development. She was principal during summer school. So the Huth awaits the older children, but it's right down the street. But let's segue over to Park Forest. And in Park Forest, at the Illinois, Dr. Shanita Mays will welcome you. And I'm amazed every time I talk to Mrs. Mays because her energy, her enthusiasm. I was watching her today. She had on gym shoes today. So that's a different Mrs. Mays than you usually see. But the energy and the enthusiasm was there. And I know it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful year at the Illinois. But still in Park Forest, really only 2 or 3 blocks away is the Indiana. And so the Indiana is Mr. Bill Howard. He's excited in his own way. He has kind of a dry sense of humor, and I like Mr. Howard simply because every day I never have to wonder where he is. He's the first person that you see in the morning out there with the children, and the last person that sees them off in the afternoon. And so this dedication, this energy that he puts into it, I think it is magnificent. But really, Mr. Howard has been with us for many years. He was an AP at the Madison, a AP at the Arcadia. So I think it's only apropos that now he's principal at the Indiana. But if you leave Olympia Fields, you leave Madison, you leave Park Forest, and you segue into Richton Park, the first school that you will see is the SOC, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and Dr. Richard Morgan. I'm not sure that he's ever shared this with you, and I know absolutely nothing about sports. I will share that with you. But Dr. Morgan does a lot with community service, and he does a lot with an amateur basketball team. And so he's always bringing ideas to me that have to do with not just community service, but involving our young people. So I think he's going to bring to you this year an idea of an intramural basketball league at that level. But just an energetic man. But the other side of him, one of these days, we'll have to have him in a Christmas program. He has a beautiful, beautiful voice. But then finally, what about the little ones, the 3 and 4 year olds? Where are they? Well, they're at the Richmond Square, and they have a new principal. Mrs. Parham decided to take a larger school in Skokie, Illinois. It's a long way, but she has. We wish her well. But I never know what's in anyone's heart. And when I talked to Mrs. Kim McGuire at the SOC, and I said, Mrs. McGuire, what do you think about the Richton? But I saw instantly the tears in her eyes and the emotion. And she said, Dr. Davis, I don't know if anything else that you could say could make me any happier than this. And so if you did not know Mrs. McGuire, she's been in the district for 20 years. You will get to know her at the Richmond Square. You will get to know her heart and her mind. And the Richmond Square is in good hands. But that's how I spent my day, because Monday morning, our buses will run. But I did want to take just a few minutes to give you some updates. Buses. 162 is growing, and downstairs now, because it's Friday afternoon, regardless of when you're hearing this video, it's Friday afternoon, we continue to enroll new students to our district. So far, we've enrolled 230 new students. That's a good thing because we continue to grow. The projections after COVID was that enrollment, not only here, but in most of the schools, would continue to drop. That hasn't been the case with us. But transportation, this year we'll have 56 buses on the street. Now, what does that mean? Because you watch the news, and I love to watch CNN, and they talk about so many things, but CNN always talks about issues, problems. So last year we struggled with our bus transportation, and I'm hopeful, not confident, but hopeful that we will not be struggling this year. But we're going to continue a practice that we had last year. On every bus that rolls will be either a teacher or a para, because I still think there's an instability with our bus companies, and because many of the drivers are new to us. But 56 buses will leave and we'll begin transporting our children on Monday morning. But at the Huth, you're going to have positive connections. And I say that because we were notified that Kickard had a bus shortage, and rather than attempt to fill in and make this work, we decided to go with positive connections. They gave us good service last year. So we're very hopeful about a continuity of service. We're hopeful that buses will not run late. We're hopeful that the bus companies will continue to stabilize. But when I say I'm hopeful, that's very different than saying that I'm confident. But August 22nd. Now let me tell you something that I am confident about. I'm confident about the quality of instruction that is going to be presented in 162 next year. I'm very confident about that. Last year, there was a tenseness when the children returned to school. Do you realize that some of them were home 18 to 24 months? And it's an entirely different education when you're just using technology. Not that we're not respectful of technology. We've learned a lot. However, in-person education, the relationship between a child and their teacher, the ability of the teacher to re-strategize, the ability of the teacher to see in every child a possibility, potential, but also simply the empathy between a teacher and a child is something that you can't replace. I've always felt that teaching is not just a science. Teaching is an art. And of all the things that I've ever done in my life, being a teacher is the most important thing to me. And You may think that that's unusual, but I remember when I was only 3 years old, I was sitting on the couch with my dolls. My mother was sitting beside me, and she said, "What are you doing, sweetheart?" I said, "Mother, I'm a teacher." And she looked at me and she said, "Sweetheart, if you're going to be a teacher, I want you to be a good one." So I come from a long line of teachers, but I also realized because of the role models that I had when I was very small, that there's dignity in teaching. And I believe um, that there's some issues in our country, and I think that you know what they are. But the only way that we're going to resolve any of them is to educate our children and to do it well, to send them on to college, to make sure that there is nothing in their academic preparation that we have not done. And I believe if our country is going to have peace, if we're going to have serenity, if we're going to have equality, if we're going to have equity, it's going to, a lot of that is going to lie in the next generation. So I'm proud of what it is that we do in 162, but I'm excited about the new year to come. So, transportation. You probably also heard about teacher shortages. At this point, we're 99 and 5 percentage points staffed. Um, 5 out of 7 schools are totally staffed, and those 2 that are not have 2 vacancies. So I anticipate, this is Friday, that when we open on Monday, we'll be 100% staffed. Now, how did we do that? Aggressive advertisement, um, using technology for LinkedIn and all of that. But another thing that we did, we reached out to some of our retired teachers, and they said, "We'd love to come back in, Dr. Davis, we'd love to come back in." So when you see these teachers that have been a part of 162 over the years, then you know simply why they decided to come. Anytime that you're a teacher and there's a need, what can you do other than to respond? But in addition to the teachers coming back, we have something called learning loss teachers. And a learning loss teacher, it's very simple. We know that because of the time that we spent on Zoom and the use of non traditional forms of instruction, there could be some gaps. But the only way that you fill a learning gap is to do it with small group or individual instruction. And so all of our schools have at least one learning loss teacher, and 2 of them, the larger schools, have 2 teachers. So that's in addition to teachers that are teaching the regular class. You might be thinking, what about class size? We're absolutely determined, you know, that our optimal class size is 22 to 24. We anticipate if a class is larger than 24, that we'll be seeking to open additional class. It's very, very stressful when teachers have large class sizes. And even though I believe and I'm confident that they can handle them, it's really not the way it should be. So we're going to try and maintain our class sizes 20 to 24. I know you're thinking too, what about this issue, this thing called COVID? Every day for 2.5 years, we've talked about COVID and how we're going to manage it. But we began in January of 2022 to test twice a month, and we're going to continue that. We're going to test before the students come into school. We're going to continue to test twice a month until January. I do believe that that gave you some peace and it gave us some serenity because we were able to determine who was positive in our environment and to do something about it. But something that I did not think was unique to us, but perhaps it is, we're returning masks. We're going to be masked through January. That doesn't mean continuous masking because with the testing, there are some events that, such as last year, as you know, we unmasked during our graduation, we unmasked during other events. But we're going to continue mask. I think you know that there is not only COVID out there, there are other issues and other germs. And I feel that that is the way to keep us safe. But you know, it's not all about just us and the children, it's also about the teachers. Um, our teachers have shown great courage. They came back last year when they were very nervous in the middle of a surge. I cannot tell you whether or not there'll be a surge this year, but that's what we're preparing for. We think that because there's been a surge the last 2 years, that that's what we're going to experience this fall. But when I look at the teachers, I'll also look at them because there are different points in life. We're different ages. We're also different in terms of um, our physical makeup. And we do have teachers that are fighting various kinds of illnesses, but they came back anyway. They're excited about the children. And so, in addition to keeping the community, the children, it's also important that we be able to maintain um, a sense of confidence in our teachers. And they not only have confidence, some of them were singing songs and dancing up and down the hallway. And so I'm so very proud of them. It hasn't been easy the past 2.5 years to maintain our sanity. It hasn't been easy to maintain a sense of courage, but we've done it. And so I'm excited about Monday. I'm going to be out there again, 56 buses on the street. Um, I think by Monday we'll be fully staffed. And I think we will have done everything that we can to be prepared. I'm also going to share with you on this video, we've done a lot over the summer. We had a large summer school, both academic and fine arts. But we're going to share with you via this video a lot of construction that we did and a lot of improvements that we made. We're going to continue to do that. If you've been in 162 over the years, and every summer we target schools and we upgrade, and that's the way we did the air conditioning. Now we're doing a number of other things. But next summer is the year of the Huth. So the Huth won't be open next summer. We have grand plans to modernize and upgrade the Huths, and so that will be the next project that we do. But what I want you always to know is that in 162 we're going to continue to do everything that we can for the children. I am proud, I am thankful for the ability to give leadership here, and I'm here, and so whatever I can do for you, whatever question I can answer, then please feel free to contact me. But I'm concentrating on a wonderful, wonderful school year, and I'm concentrating on the buses as they roll into our 7 schools on Monday. So think of us, stay safe, and thank you for everything that you do and for your consistent support. Good evening.